black out
Wait till this is done.
everything except the words that you want to keep. Okay? So what that could look like is like a distillation. So poetry can be sort of like taking only the very, very, very most important parts and cutting out everything else. So you might try to find all the key words and underline those and then black everything else out. Or what I did in my poem, I was a little bit silly with it because this was an article about a bar that's closing. And I just picked out all the words that I liked that I thought were fun, and I kind of came up with something just based on sound, based on what it sounded like, and fun words. So I'll read my poem out loud. Can I borrow yours? Okay. So the poem's title is Razzle Dazzle. Raz is moving with a Cadillac starship, expanded chef cabaret, racism in a suit, pressure acts, they attract man. Okay? So that's probably not what the original journalist author intended in their article, but that's kind of what's fun about being a poet is that you could get to use any text as source material. So you can use anything that someone else has written and you can make something new out of it. So that's what we're asking you guys to try today. So let's hand out some articles.
Well, what if we read the titles to them and then
Okay.
they can choose, because that way they'll have to. So I picked out, these are my two. I picked out Underwater Robots Hear 9 Endangered Whales. Okay, now we'll tell you, we'll go right out, so I just want to read out the titles first. And then this one was my favorite, because you guys know I'm kind of crazy about animals. Dog shaved to look like lion prompts 911 call.
Oh, I get it.
Now there's pictures on these too, which is cool, so you can really look at your informational text. And listen to which ones did you read in?
So let's see. Mine are a little bit more newsy, but they're kind of fun because they're in columns. So in newspapers, they write them in these long, skinny columns, which makes really excellent material for poetry because then you have to make line breaks. You can't put it in a paragraph, right? So that we're gonna have a difference between these that are written in paragraphs and these that are written in columns. The form will look really different. So that'll be cool to see what you guys come up with. So I have, this one doesn't even have a title, but it's about a recycling center being closed in the Haight-Ashbury neighborhood. And then this one is about people being evicted from their homes during the holidays. A little bummer.
What's that?
Yeah. This is about who is donating money to the government.
I just look silly. Mine are all silly.
No, they're
all
really
serious.
No, I feel the opposite. I feel like, oh, mine are too serious. This one's about public transportation. Okay, so these are kind of more serious, but I think it's kind of fun to take that as a challenge.
You could make a funny poem out of a serious article.
Exactly. Totally twist the other person's words. This is your opportunity to kind of, like vandalize someone else's writing. You can kind of like totally change it. Right, and you're not going to get in trouble. You're not defacing any property or anything. This is totally kosher, which is okay. Right? But it's fun. You kind of feel like you're doing something you're not supposed to do, which is always...
So let's do it this way. This could be a good idea. I'm going to have you put one hand up if you want the robot article. Don't forget. 2 hands up if you want the dog article.
3 hands up.
No hands up if you want Miss Lindsay to surprise you. So that's a challenge. If you're going to not put your hands up, you're really challenging yourself to do something really different. So I'd love to see some people challenge themselves. So 1 hand up for robots, 2 hands up for dogs.
You can do all kinds of really fun stuff. Like you could draw a picture. You could, within your poem, you could just highlight words in the shape of a heart or a star.
So how about the first thing we do is let's choose our words. How many words would you like them to do, Miss Lindsay? What would be a minimum?
The minimum? I'd say like, depending on if you have a really long article like this, I would do at least 10.
All right, let's do 10 words minimum. You can do more than that. So that's the first thing you do. And then the second thing we want you to do, there is no maximum. I mean, I don't want you to just rewrite the article. But you can use any of the text features. You can use the headline. You can use the picture, you can use the subheading, all of that. Write on these, circle them, cross out like Miss Lindsey did. And then after you do that, we'll have you rewrite the poems, and you can put them into a shape. We can do all kinds of fun stuff. So step 1, choose your words.
Yeah, you
Circled, square, whatever.
Exactly, yeah, you might box them out, you might underline them, you might circle them. One thing I should point out that's really fun about these is that there are words within words, right?
Whoa.
So like, the word revision has what word inside of it? Vision, right? So what I might do is I might do this and then black this out, right? Okay, so you did, and like in my article, there was a word that said like management, and I cut everything except man, because I wanted to use man. Does that make sense? Yeah. You can do that too. Although like the happy parts of the holidays, and then this like the sadness that these people are going through. And I can relate to it too, because sometimes the holidays are happy and painful. Cool. So if you, when you rewrite it, do you think, are you going to keep it the spacing the way it is? That could be kind of cool. I mean, let's see what it would look like. Ranya's looks really cool, so make sure you show everybody what it looks like. And Miss Leacham is going to stand back there, and you want to make sure she can hear you, right?
I am your video
Yeah.
screen.
Okay, so let's square up.
Right.
Make sure you stand up straight. Okay.
The closing soda can. The closing
Go, go,
ripple.
go. What's your name?
My
Introduce
name
your
is
name.
Rania,
Good.
and my poem is called Soda Can.
I'm gonna show the next one. That one's really cool. You guys can
It looks like so.
looks like so.
The closing ripple recycling merchants loom beverages within a mile, with the food's super largest services cling the area and force the same art choices.
Nice.
Nice.
And I wanted from here, video conference, I really want us to be able to show how we support each other. You guys are a really good class of supporting each other. So when someone does read for it, let's all clap for them. Especially today, we'll practice it and we'll do it for video conferencing. We can show them like, look at us, we're a great class.
Totally. Yeah. Definitely. And we're gonna have to practice giving feedback too. So I know you guys, we've done a little bit of that. And Miss Leacham and I will help you, give you some ideas of how to give feedback. But if you want to practice today and give some compliments to your peers, to other poets in the classroom, say what you liked or what stood out to you, what you remembered, or if there's something about the poem or the performance that you would change or do differently, you can make a suggestion too.
All right, so let's have 2 people share a comment on Ranya's. Yeah, Hele.
Her picture was good, and she was like it was like her presentation was good too.
Very nice, the way she presented. Good, I like that. Anyone else? One more person to share a comment out about Ranya's, please. Somebody else. I'm sorry, I can't hear you when you have food in your mouth.
Whoa.
Thank you.
It's ice.
I don't care. Go.
I like how
Say turn, not me.
Say it to Rania, please.
I like how it was a picture of a cat and like he's turning it while he was reading it. I think that was
That made it interesting. I thought that made it really interesting when she was turning it as she and she kept it up because that's hard to do. Really hard to do. You want to share it, Sil? All right, Lily wants to share.
Jumped all the way down here.
Okay,
Housing
so if you're done, why don't you get out a lined piece of paper? Make sure your name's on it because Miss Lindsay's collecting these and she's been reading over them. I'm grading them.
I especially like it starts out kind of funny, like the trees singing and stuff. But then it starts to get really into this kind of heavy issue. Cool. Can I use yours as an example?
Now, because we're studying informational text, I want to make sure that everybody puts one important text feature on there. What do you think I'm going to ask you to do? What important text feature am I going to ask you to put on your poem? Title. I want everybody to do a title. Your own title. And you know what I do with titles, especially when I write poems, is sometimes I write my poem and then I put my title on.